Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Property Management 101, and today we'll be discussing best practices for managing month-to-month leases. If you've not already done so, please watch my disclosure video as well as my why I do this video. And if you find this video helpful and learn something new, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. This video will apply to any type of housing that offers a month-to-month term. I have found in certain states and certain leases can be very different with their month-to-month requirements. So it's really important that you review your state guidelines as well as what is outlined in your lease before you start to manage your month-to-month options. Number one best practice to keep in mind with managing your month-to-months is determine your cap. Now this cap may be already set in place. In a multifamily site, with more than 100 units, one of the most common practices I've heard is keeping your month-to-months no more than 3% of your property or 3% of any particular floor plan. Multifamily sites that have 100 or less, I've heard that percentage go up slightly higher. In single-family portfolios, I've seen owners, have anywhere up to 10% is the most common cap I've seen with single-family management homes. Number two best practice to keep in mind with managing your month-to-month leases is risk. You may be asking yourself, why is risk a good practice? Understanding that month-to-months are adding risk to your asset and also understanding what can be done to mitigate that risk is very important as part of managing your month-to-months. Inherently, when you have month-to-month leases, you're inheriting some risk. These individuals can give notice during a slow time of year or during a time of year that's not ideal for your leasing season or your staff to handle, or maybe a time that you feel that you're already above your threshold of what you could absorb as far as expirations. So it's really important that you manage this and you understand that no matter what, and regardless if they're paying a month-to-month premium, there is going to be some risk with month-to-month leases, and that's why you want to keep a particular cap or percentage that your properties are able to absorb if all of a sudden most or all give notice in a particular time frame that's not ideal for your property. To help mitigate this risk, what you want to do is periodically generate a renewal offer that includes a month-to-month offer and a longer term, and revisit this with any resident that's on a month-to-month lease. There's two big reasons why you want to do this. Number one, if they do elect to stay on a month-to-month term, at least then you have the opportunity to increase their month-to-month rate with their due renewal offer. The second reason that's very beneficial to the property is in the event they do elect to go on a longer term lease, then at least you are minimizing your risk with some of these month-to-months, and then you're locking in your occupancy for that much longer. Number three practice to keep in mind when managing your month-to-months, exercise your notice to vacate. Now, I know that some properties and assets, you may have some situations that a resident is going month to month and it is intentional. Maybe they owe a balance, maybe they're an employee, maybe they're pending eviction, maybe there's some other special circumstances. But for anything outside of those type of situations, please keep in mind that you do have the right with a month-to-month lease to exercise your notice to vacate at any given point. And in most places, you have to give a 30 or 60-day notice if that's going to be the case. This could be very beneficial if you do have a resident that's constantly violating your lease or constantly, paying late, or you're constantly filing eviction on. So by exercising this notice to vacate is something that is a good option if you have someone on a month-to-month. If you do have a resident that you feel that you may just not be the best fit for, that you think that the property and the asset would benefit by just offering a notice of vacate to this resident. My one thing to note with this is I'd really make sure that if you are going to entertain this and consider this, you follow very consistent practices when you give someone a non-renewal. I hope you found this video helpful and you learned something new. If so, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Happy leasing!